Hello world, it's GoGeo4 with you once again. Hope you guys are doing well. Today, I've got a little something to present for all you folks out there, especially you big fans of Jurassic Park and Jurassic World. I've just got my hands on something, a big old beauty. I'd like to present you all, I'd like you all to meet the Indominus Rex. Yes, here she is in all her grand beauty. She's the big one. Of course, this is one of the new Mattel line of Jurassic World, Jurassic Park figures. And when I saw this figure coming out, I just knew I had to get my hands on this one. I've had my gripes with the newer Jurassic Park films, but I do really like the creature itself, and I think that she has a really cool design. And so here she is in all her beauty, and I'm gonna take her out of the box, and we're gonna look at her, and we're gonna talk about her, and I'm just gonna give you guys my general feedback and opinions on what I think of this figure and what I like about it. I'm already very impressed, and I love the box. I think the box itself is pretty nice. You know, it's kind of standard, honestly, what you'd expect, but I like the look, and I like the coloring. I like the big old Jurassic World logo, the back. You know, it shows how the figure works. It's very simple, pretty straightforward, but I think it really works. Enough chit chat, let's open her up and let's take a look at her more closely in this unboxing and review.
Just went and made a new dinosaur? Probably not a good idea. Evacuate the island. She's a highly intelligent animal.
Here she is in all her beauty, out of the box. She's released and she's free. And first thing I gotta say about this figure is that, funny enough, right, for her size, she's quite big. She's super light. Like, I did not expect her to be so light, honestly, for such a large figure. And I've noticed she's really just one body at this point. Most of her torso, the neck is a separate piece, but the body and the tail, except for this piece here, are practically all one piece. There isn't really a lot of posability or articulation on the tail, but the legs have full articulation. She does this, which I realized, so you can have her in kind of an attack pose. Then what's really nice is the hand, or the arms, the elbows, are ball joints. I don't feel like the tightest thing ever, so I don't want to move them too much. But it is pretty cool because, you know, in the film she has a lot of movements like this and that, so you can really get some cool movements. It's a shame her wrists don't really move a lot, but I do like how much posability there is in her arms. And then her feet, I guess if you kind of want to turn them around and make her have a weird walk, you can do that too. So in terms of articulation, not that many points, but I still like the point of articulation in her arms, and I think it's cool that her feet can move. The neck and the head kind of move. I think where this figure shines, even before the action features, is the sculpt. The sculpt is probably one of the best things about this figure. Something that I really like about these Mattel line of figures in general, they have really nice sculpts. You know, this is like a plastic vinyl figure, right? But you know, so it's not SH Monster Arts or anything. It's not a NECA figure, but still, just in terms of quality of everything, the scales on her back, the quality of detail on the feet and the hands and the head especially. They got all her little horns and everything, the little weird, I don't know what to call these, whiskers or something that protrude out of the back of her head. Especially because this is really essentially kind of a kid's toy, even though it's almost a little pricier, I think, for the average kid. But this is technically a kid's toy. I don't think this is like a SH Monster Arts or a like more mature collector's figure, but the quality for the sculpt is fantastic, I have to say. They must have taken it straight from the 3D model or something. And her hands too, the claws on her hands, they've got like the scales down almost in each individual one. They have like the whiskers on her elbow. They got like the teeth where, you know, some teeth are pointing up and other down. They have almost every individual teeth. They have detail on their tongue. One thing that is a little lacking could be the paint job on this figure. I definitely think the sculpt is a strong point, but I think the paint job is a little weak. I just feel like they kind of use this bland gray color, which of course she is gray in the film, but here I think it's just kind of like a one wash gray color, and then only certain things are painted differently. There is on her back a darker gray color. You know, her toenails, claws, I guess, are a different color, but like the claws on her hand, for example, are just the same gray color. And then on her head, pretty much it's just two grays, either this brownish color or gray, and then like the horns on top of her head are really almost the same gray color as everything else. Whereas I remember there was a bit more, even though she is gray in general, there's a bit more coloring to her. So I do wish that maybe there could have been more detailing in the paint job. I think that's something that's a bit more lacking, especially because it's very tough, because the creature is originally a gray color, and the gray is not always easy to pull off with figures because it just comes off as looking cheap. So you have to make it look interesting. So I do understand where they tried, but I just wish there was a little bit more detail and variation in the paint job. And I think that's something that for me does kind of not ruin the figure at all, but it's just something that I do notice that I wish was a bit better. So far as my biggest complaint about the figure, I'd say is the paint job. Let's get to the action features, because really this is what sells the figure, I think, for its size, its price range. I mean, it's the action features that's really why the kids are gonna want this one, why even adult collectors like me are gonna want this figure. In essence, there's two buttons, right? There's one button more on the front torso, and there's one almost towards the end. The front torso button, if you press it, she kind of does that, and so if you want to bring her arms out, it's kind of like her attack pose, you know. And then the next one is, of course, the big one. Really, the main reason to buy this figure, honestly, is right. And if you actually press it 3 times, her neck lights up orange, and that's a super cool feature. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, that's awesome. And like her neck is almost big enough that you can actually put a figure down there that she can chew on. I was curious if she could actually swallow the toy, but she can't. It can only go into her neck, and once it hits the light, that's as far as it goes. Yes, I know, it lets you see the quality of the inside of her tongue and her mouth and everything. I mean, there's detail in that. They could have just made everything great, but they actually went in and painted it a different color, and they have the light in there, and that's such a cool effect. I love this. I mean, I'm a sucker for sound and action. Like, I can, you know, if you sacrifice posability in the paint job for sound and action, I'm sold. Like, that for me, it's fine. If it's not the most detailed, articulated figure, but it moves and has sound and stuff, the kid in me loves that, you know. So for me, that really is amazing that this toy can do that. And you can point her up, and in terms of, like, you know, playability and stuff, this toy is fantastic for kids. I think it's probably for a little bit older kids, because very young children it's almost a hazard. They could really get hurt by this thing, because it's pretty spiky, and the feet too are kind of, you know, a little spiky. So I'd say this is not really for small children, but more older kids. And then of course, let's be honest, mature collectors who really want a good looking Indominus Rex figure, but, you know, don't want to spend lots of money on the more, you know, there are lots of like high quality, almost statue figures that you can get that are super high quality, super detailed, but they're really statues. They're not really figures that you can really move or anything. Whereas this one really is a good mix, because it's not the most high quality detailed figure, but there's posability, there's action features, and it feels quite light and pretty durable, you know. I don't think she's gonna break anytime soon. And especially compared to the old Hasbro Indominus Rex figure that I used to see on toy shelves back in the day. I had almost considered buying that figure, but I just wasn't really impressed with the quality and everything, and I'm quite glad I waited to get this one instead. Definitely, I think if you're a big fan of the creature, if you really like bigger dinosaur figures with sound and action, you should definitely pick up this toy. It's bigger, so, you know, she's quite big. I don't think she's gonna scale very well against some of the smaller figure. She's definitely gonna scale well against like a big Jurassic Park T-Rex figure. You know, if you were looking for a smaller Indominus Rex, I don't know if Mattel is making one. I think this is, as far as I know, this is the only Indominus Rex figure they are making. So you might have to go back to the old, not so great Hasbro quality Indominus Rex. But honestly, if you're looking at this figure, you're more than likely, you're only really interested in it because of the quality of it and everything. And like, so far from what I've seen the other Mattel line figures in stores, and I'm very impressed with their quality. And I've really been liking the Spinosaurus I know that there's a new battle damaged Spinosaurus that's just come out. The line supposedly is very successful because Mattel continues to put out figures. And I'm okay with that. I want them to keep putting out figures. I think that'd be fantastic because they're doing a great job. Yeah, just a great figure. Like I said, probably not for every child, probably a little bit pricier. So if you're just looking to get some Jurassic Park figure for your kid, like, and they don't really care, I would almost just recommend the T-Rex because it's a little smaller, it's cheaper. They come in tons of different sizes. It's like a huge one and a smaller one. They still all have sound and action, and the detailing is great. So, but if you know they really want the Indominus Rex and they could probably handle it safely, I would definitely recommend it. For you adult collectors out there who really like the Indominus Rex and you're on the fence about this figure, I would definitely recommend it. I think it's great. And I think it's going to be a lot cheaper than getting like a statue special edition version that doesn't do a lot of posability. If you want something you can also just not only display but play with, make videos with, this figure is perfect because I think I can already see, you know, being able to use this figure in tons of videos and being able to pose it and take it places, you know. So that's what's nice about a figure like this for me. Someone like me, I can make tons of videos with a figure like this. But anyway, overall, that's kind of my thoughts on this figure. And I think it's super cool. And I'm just excited to be buying Jurassic Park, the dinosaur figures again. And I'm looking forward to see what Mattel will do next. I'm going to assume that they're going to do the Jurassic World 3 lineup as well. So whatever new dinosaur appears in that film, or dinosaurs, will also get figures of their own. They've already done figures for the Battle of Big Rock. Which, by the way, if you haven't seen it, I've done a review of the Battle of Big Rock short film. We'll see what happens in Jurassic World 3 if a new dinosaurs are introduced, and so if they'll be making figures of those as well. They'll probably will, and they'll probably do superb quality. Honestly, if Jakks Pacific was to drop the Godzilla lineup for whatever reason, even though they're not going to, but if they did, and Mattel decided to pick up the Godzilla figures, I'd be so happy because could you imagine Mattel making Godzilla figures like this? That would be fantastic. That's it for this video, guys. Let me know if you've gotten your hands on this figure yet and what your thoughts are, or if you're still on the fence and you're not sure if you want to get it, or if you've gotten any of the other Mattel Jurassic Park figures and what your thoughts have been on the lineup so far. Like, share, subscribe, all that jazz, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.